Before this video begins, I would like to give a quick thank you to EA for sponsoring this video. So, was I wrong about Need for Speed Unbound's Volume 2 update? How we all doing? Jack here. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're all having a fantastic day. As always, let's talk about Need for Speed Unbound's Volume 2 update. What it brings to the table, what it improves, and what I think could be improved from this update going forward. But before we begin, if you like the video, be sure to hit that subscribe button and hit that bell. I do Need for Speed Unbound content and racing game content, so if you like that type of stuff, be sure to hit that subscribe button. But tuber voice, let's take the tuber voice off. Having played the update, I was fortunate enough to be invited to play the update early. Having played this update, there's a lot more that meets the eye. When I first saw the trailer for Volume 2 and I read the notes of what was going to be added into the game, I really couldn't get hyped. The update really just kind of didn't really show enough for me to be excited. And that, and coupled with the fact that this is the first update in nearly 4 months, that really rubbed me the wrong way. Having said that, having actually played the update, I do believe that this is a lot better of an update than I thought it would have been. Really, this game doesn't do a whole lot when it comes to introducing new content, actual content into the game. This is still very much the, hey, we just finished the game update. This is how Unbound should have been on launch, basically. So there's a massive amount of bug fixes, like no Ferrari in B class. Finally! No Ferrari in B class. Engine swaps are basically limited to the class of that car, down one and then up one. So if you have an S-type car, it can only go down to A+ or up to S+ with the engine swaps, which is a fantastic improvement. So no more Crown Vic swapped Ferrari 488s. And there's also better payouts for multiplayer, so multiplayer races will pay more, so it's not as much of a grind, which is extremely helpful because you were getting paid diddly squat, basically, for winning in like 8-player races. Like, you would still get paid like next to nothing. The police return to multiplayer and introduce a new gameplay loop. They actually function a little differently than they do in single player. They only come after you if you ram into them, and so they won't come after you for speeding. And then once you escape them, your heat goes all the way back to 0, regardless of regardless if it was at heat 5 or heat 1. Your heat goes back to 0 at the end of the chase. Other players can join in and assist you, and they will actually get paid alongside you for helping out. You can actually make money from police chases in Unbound's multiplayer, and this is actually a cool way to make money. If you get a car and you have the I forgot what part the actual aux part is called, but basically the part that allows you to make more money from cop chases, you can put that on your car and you can farm cops all day. It's kind of like COD Zombies in a sense, where you can just farm cops all day and get paid for it. The higher your heat level goes up, the more money you get paid, and you get paid around $200 for every cop you take out. So I literally just found myself driving around the map in a cop chase, trying to smash as many cops as I can. It was really fun. If you just want to chill and cruise with your friends, you can still do that. The cops won't bother you. But if you want to get into a cop chase with you and your friends, you can get into the same cop chase and help each other out. The other major feature for me were the hot lap time trials that were added around the map. So these are kind of like skill challenges, like the drift corners, like the speed traps. So basically what these are is these are short 30-second-ish, some are a little longer, some are a little shorter, time trials in specific parts of the map. And they're quite challenging. I actually built a car specifically just to tackle these very narrow and these very short time trials. They're called hot laps. And I think they're pretty fun. I spent quite a bit of time actually trying to get the best time that I could with these. So I actually did find quite a bit of fun in these. And also, this brings me to the new car that was added into the game, the Mercedes Maybach. I don't know why I tried to do like a German twang with that. I'm not German. The Mercedes Maybach has been added to Need for Speed Unbound. I quite like this car. It isn't the first car on my list that I would add to this game, but you know, this car does, the Maybach is quite big when it comes to modern day hip hop culture and just, you know, car culture in general. So it's a cool car to see. You don't see this car in any other racing games, and I do think that's a cool niche that Need for Speed has. If Need for Speed kind of focuses on cars that you don't really see in other games, cars that are like popular in the car community, cars that are popular in the car community, but you don't really see in Forza or Gran Turismo or like any other racing game, such as the Mercedes Maybach, I think that Need for Speed could have a winner there. Again, not the first car I would add, but I'm very happy with the car, and that's the car I used to go and farm cops all day, so it was quite a bit of fun in that car. So there's also a bunch of new events. We have some new street races, some new rumble races, which are like these off-road-esque kind of races. They're not like rally races or anything, but they're races where you're gonna be racing around like industrial parks or construction sites, stuff with a lot of gravel and mixed terrain, which I think is pretty cool. They're pretty fun. And then we also have endurance playlists, which are playlists with just one race, but the race is like a good 8 to 10 minutes. And these are pretty fun as well. If you're into those types of races, you have them there as well. So it's cool to see some variety getting put into the playlist in Need for Speed Unbound. Just keeping it fresh a little, and they're also redoing a bunch of the playlists to kind of like keep them fresh as well, which is always appreciated. So my opinion on this update has definitely shifted. I think it's a much better update than I thought it would be. But to boil it down, it's still the "we finished the game" update. That's really just the best words to sum it up. It's not a bad update. I actually am very glad that they pushed out. They're starting off with an update to kind of address key issues with the game and get those out the door as soon as we can, and get an update to really just kind of just perfect the game in a way. I don't really see this update bringing a lot of the player count back. The player count has been dwindling really badly, and I think the thing with me is this is the first update after 4 months. I really think they need to do a better job with communication, just communicating the game's current updates, future updates, what's planned, you know, maybe some sort of roadmap or both. I think that would be a really good idea, especially since the community is very on edge right now. We're coming off a game that had one update, then pieced out when the studio closed. And then when you have a game that's been nearly radio silent since launch and we get our first update after 4 months, people are going to suspect the worst has happened to the game. So I really hope that the next update is not 4 months away. And I really hope that the next update's a little more, substantial in a sense that it brings new gameplay elements into the game a lot more and focuses more on that as opposed to just, you know, perfecting the game and bringing it to a more finished state. I really hope that they have something down the pipeline that will bring people to the game continuously and bring the player base back up. I absolutely love Need for Speed Unbound, and I want to see it flourish. So on one hand, I'm glad that this update addresses a lot of the key issues that have been plaguing the multiplayer and kind of brings it to a better state, but at the same time I'm hoping in the future we get more content driven updates. But again, I think this is a much better start to Need for Speed Unbound than I thought this update would be, so I'm very glad that I'm very glad that this update is, again, you know, it could always be better, but at the same time, I think this update's better than I thought it would be. But that's it for me tonight. Thank you all for hanging out with me. Again, massive thank you to EA for sponsoring this video. If you want to see more content, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below. But that's it for me tonight. I will see you all later. Have a good night, everyone.